Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Gaurachandra Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Gadadhar Jaya Srinivas Jaya Mukunda Vasudevi Jaya Haridas.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our continuing series, Every Town and Village, where we are exploring the principles and strategies for spreading Krishna consciousness that Srila Prabhupada has brought to us in ISKCON, and how they are connected to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own strategies and principles. So today we're very, very fortunate and very pleased to have with us Guru Prasad Maharaj, speaking to us from, well, I'm in Mayapur and he's on the other side of the planet. I heard from you, Maharaj, that you're in South Texas right now.
Yes.
Maybe your weather is kind of similar to ours.
Sometimes just a little cold front came in
Okay.
a couple days ago, as you can see.
Yes, you. So without further ado, we are going to be talking about something really, really important, right? Ami Hagya, the order.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
several occasions
for everybody too.
Everybody's included.
Everyone's in. So, audience, sit back. Please share with everyone that you family, friends, whatever, so that we can all enjoy. And I'm going to just turn things over to you, Maharaj. And I'm also going to sit back and listen. And then towards the end, we're going to have some time for questions and comments. And I'll rejoin you. Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be able to perform this service of being able to address this wonderful audience of Vaishnavas about the importance of this order given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it wasn't just Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as I will try to illustrate, but also Krishna himself when he came. Also, Lord Chaitanya gave this instruction on several occasions that we all have a grave responsibility to carry on the Parampara. It's not just a few select gurus or, designated gurus, but it's everyone's responsibility. So this is the origin and how this is so important. It wasn't just some inspiration that Srila Prabhupada picked up from somewhere. It is the instruction of the Parampara. And I will read one extract from a class of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, where he emphasizes the grave duty and responsibility that we all have to spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I would like to begin by reading the verse. There are two verses that I'm considering. The first is the most well-known verse. Probably you've heard it and you will hear it many times throughout this series. And so if we can have that verse on the screen so everyone could see it. This is Madhya Lila, 7th chapter, text number 128. And that famous text, Jadi Dekatari Kaha Krishnu Padesh Amara Gyaya Guru Hanyatara Idesh. So this, I'm just going to read that translation. Jadi Deka, of course, whoever you meet, Tarikaha, please tell them. And whoever you meet, wherever you go, Krishnu Padesh, please give the instruction of whatever you know about Krishna, up to what point. At the very minimum, you can give a book, and then it goes beyond everything you know, but you have access to more than you know. Amara Gyaya Guru, that is my indication, that my order, that you should become a guru. So this is the text we have at hand. I'm just going to read the translation by Srila Prabhupada and a few lines of the purport. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the Krishna Upadesh. This is what Srila Prabhupada considers that Krishna's teaching, the main teaching, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. And Srila Prabhupada in his purport, this is the sublime mission of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Many people come and inquire whether they have to give up family life to join the society, but that is not our mission. One can remain comfortably in his residence. We simply request that everyone chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if one is a little literate, one can read Bhagavad Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam. That is so much the better. Instead of living engrossed in material activities, people throughout the world should take advantage of this movement and chant the Hare Krishna mantra at home with their families and refrain from sinful activities. So this is Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Now, this is a very famous verse, and it's known. Srila Prabhupada quotes it many times. I wanted to refer to a less famous verse, but a more universally, not a universal appeal, a universal instruction given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is a verse which I not only suggest that everyone read, but read the whole section where Lord Chaitanya presents himself as the gardener. He is the gardener. So he says, I've planted this tree. What is that tree? It's the Kalpavriksha tree that gives fruits of love of Godhead. So I planted this tree, but I'm the only gardener. And therefore, I'm requesting all of you to come forward and help me with this task of spreading it. So he gave this particular instruction and a few other instructions that were along with this, in this same section. Very important instructions. But this particular verse, this is Adi Lila 9, verse number 36. That Atta Eva Ami Agya. That therefore. Now, what is the therefore? Means there's something before. So what is coming before? I'm the only gardener. How many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick and distribute? No. And he says this is a fully cognizant tree. So therefore, this is my order. I give this order, sabhakari. That means to everyone, not to the brahmacharis, not to the sannyasis, not to the grihat. Now, the previous order, which we just read, was given specifically to the Kurma Brahma. He was a grihasta, and he became enamored when he saw Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. He was thinking, why am I here in this condition, stuck with my family? Now, of course, he wasn't putting down family. He was just so overwhelmed. He was a very responsible Brahmin, but he's so overwhelmed by seeing chanting, dancing. We had this happen in our movement many, many years ago in the 70s, that a person becomes overwhelmed by seeing a group or a busload or whatever of enthusiastic devotees preaching all over the place, all over the country, all over the world. And they think, what am I doing here? So, but Lord Chaitanya's instruction was, no, don't come with me. You stay where you are. Because why is that instruction important? Not just because Lord Chaitanya is saying you must do it, you must become guru, but to emphasize what is actually happening in our Krishna consciousness movement today, where the majority of our members are in their home with their families, with a responsibility, some type of work or business, and they can't just pick up everything and go out and preach widely all over the world, nor would it be practical. But the family unit is a very important unit, especially in a society where practically everyone has a family. And therefore, they need to see Krishna consciousness coming on that level, how it can be practically performed. And therefore, the family unit, the Grihasta, in that sense, is the most important preacher because the Grihasta will actually give it, will give the example. Here is our home. Here is what we do. We live like you. We work like you. We have recreation like you. Well, not exactly the same, probably, but the general family activity is the same. But what is the difference? That we are teaching how everyone can sublimely perfect their lives by chanting the holy name of Krishna. So then he says, Jahan Tahan Premapala, that Premapala, fruits of love of Godhead. We have to, I instruct everyone, wherever and everywhere you go, to everyone and anyone, Deha Jari Tari, to everyone and everyone, everywhere you go, you must distribute these fruits. So, of course, the most tangible fruits of love of Godhead, we have three very tangible manifestations. The holy name of Krishna, Krishna Prasadam, and Srila Prabhupada's books. So these are three types of fruits. Srila Prabhupada said one time that the three most auspicious fruits are mangoes, coconuts, and bananas. So these are the mangoes, coconuts, and bananas of our Krishna consciousness movement. So this is a very, very important instruction that Lord Chaitanya has given. And later on, he gives other instructions for, carrying on this movement. Of course, in the next text, I'm just going to mention them. Text 41, famous verse, Bharata Bhumite Hoila Manusha Janma Jar, Janma Sartaka Korikor, Parupakar, that anyone born in India, especially, must perform this. And then he quotes from the Srimad Bhagavatam and from the Padma Purana, famous verse from the Bhagavatam, where Krishna is speaking to his cowherd boys and saying, look at these trees. They're so compassionate. They're giving so much and they're taking so little. So this is the duty of a devotee, to give as much as possible and take as little as possible, what is necessary. And pranar artar diya vacha, with one's life, with one's wealth, with one's intelligence, and with one's words. Sometimes I explain that we could give our lives, but if I can't give my whole life, let me give my wealth. If I don't have wealth, let me give my intelligence. If I don't have intelligence, let me chant Hare Krishna and spread the holy name. So whatever our abilities are, these are orders and instructions descending from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, of course, that wasn't the first time. The first time comes from Krishna himself, where he says that in Bhagavad Gita, at the very end, he says that nacha tasmad manushyashu kasmin me priya kuttama bhavita na chame tasmad anyad priyataro bhuvi. That there is no servant in this world more dear to me than that person who preaches this Bhagavad Gita, nor will there ever be one more dear. So 5,000 years ago, Krishna gave this instruction. But before, not only Krishna, but his devotees, like Prahlad Maharaj, such devotees such as Prahlad Maharaj should be understood that they're so dear to him. Krishna so many times speaks through his devotees. And actually, we're talking about that. We're talking about Parampara. We're talking about all of us under these orders having a grave responsibility. So what Prahlad Maharaj, many millions of years ago, what did he say? He said, personally, material existence doesn't bother me. Naivodvijay paraduratya vaitaranyas. That personally, it doesn't disturb me. Why? Because twadvirdya gayana mahamrita magnachittaha. Because I'm totally absorbed. He's a Mahabhagavat, totally absorbed. But the shoche tato vimukha chatasa indriyartha. But there's one thing that I lament. And the one thing that I just can't, when I see people who have turned their back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maya Sukaya Paramudvahato Vimudhan, and foolishly, Vimudha means like a well-established fool, not just a passing fool, but a well-established fool, Maya Sukaya, looking after, pursuing the illusory happiness of this world and making so many huge, big arrangements to make it happen. And so, such a lamentable thing. And then he goes on. Prahlad Maharaj, he gives his justification, so to speak, that he says that actually there are many saintly people, great saintly people, prayena deva muniya vimukti kama, swabhimukti kama. Many great saintly persons, but they're interested in their own vimukti. They're interested in their own liberation. And so such persons, maunam charati vijane sa parartha nishtaha. They're very expert at silence, austerities, penances, wandering through the forest in a solitary mood, but not parathanishta. They have no real full compassion for the fallen conditioned souls in this world. So Prahlad Maharaj goes on to say that Naitan Bihaya Kripanan, I can't give them up, even though they're kripanas. They are very foolish, miserly persons. Vimamuksha ego. I can't renounce them. Why? Nanyad tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. I can't do it because apart from your mercy, I don't see that they have any hope. So this is the position of a devotee. A devotee is willing even to accept uncomfortable circumstances. We had a GBC meeting just this morning where we were reading from one of Srila Prabhupada's letters that because we are servants and we want to serve the will of the greatest personality, Krishna, then we're willing to accept inconvenience. That is the meaning of servant. So it's a very special position and a very cherished position, to be the servant. So we can see this. This is nothing new. This goes back to the times of Prahlad Maharaj. This goes back, millions of years, because it's our duty. Now, Prahlad Maharaj advised his demoniac father. He said, Hitvatma patagriham andagupam banam gato yadharam ashrayate. That he said that family life, meaning, materialistic family life, it can be like a dark well, and therefore you should go to the forest. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur described that forest in this age of Kali Yuga. Going to the forest means going to the cities where the most dangerous animals live. Sri Narottam Das Thakur said that actually envious human beings are the most dangerous animals, because an envious snake is known to be one of the most envious animals. You can control with mantras and with music, but an envious person, you can't control them with anything. So now we see millions of years ago, Prahlad Maharaj gave this indication. He also indicated to his class friends that we have to take this up. And Lord Chaitanya, apart from the two instances that we've already mentioned, where he ordered everyone to take it up, and the Kurma Brahmin or the Grihastha ashram to take it up in their particular place of residence, or to purify their neighborhood, or otherwise a grassroots approach. That we have grihasthas living everywhere, and sometimes I see so-and-so lives in such a place that I've never heard of in my life, somewhere in the world. So, as it says in the beginning of Chaitanya Bhagavat, that Lord Chaitanya's associates took birth in places where there is no piety. So why would a devotee take birth in an impious place? Well, to spread Krishna consciousness. This is the arrangement of the Lord. Even it mentions that Kali Yuga was accelerated. It was actually accelerated so that the contrast between the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the present situation of Kali Yuga would be more contrasted. Otherwise, if it were a normal Kali Yuga where Lord Chaitanya didn't appear, it may not be it may have not progressed so far at this point in time. But by the Lord's arrangement, in other words, everything is being arranged so that this preaching movement will become prominent, will dominate the world. This is Lord Chaitanya's plan. It's not just a question of we sit back, chant Hare Krishna and feel good. Because this is what Prahlad Maharaj was expressing. How can I do that when these people are turning their backs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the only source of happiness that exists? Srila Prabhupada, in one very beautiful purport, speaking about this, he shows how not only just representing Lord Chaitanya, but flooding the world. Because when Lord Chaitanya came from Gaya after being initiated by Ishwara Puri and inaugurating the Sankirtan movement, as it says in the beginning of Chaitanya Bhagavat, that this is Lord Chaitanya Nityananda, this is their mood, Sankirtanaya Kapitaro Kamalaya Daksho, with their beautiful lotus eyes, their Ajnu Lambita Bujao, with their arms, golden forms, with arms hanging down to their knees. They are the inaugurators of the Sankirtan movement. And what are they doing with the Sankirtan movement? Yuga Dharma Palau. They are establishing and protecting the Sankirtan movement. And they're also they are promoting the Brahminical culture through the Sankirtan movement. So Srila Prabhupada says that just like in an ordinary agricultural field, you can have so many, there's so many seeds that may be planted. And because those seeds have been planted, then if there's a flood, the seeds don't fructify. So if we not only just, try to spread the movement, but if in a very wonderful way, as Vaisheshika Prabhu encourages us constantly, we really flood the world with Krishna consciousness, with the Sankirtan movement, then Prabhupada says these seeds of material enjoyment that are within the hearts of the people cannot fructify. So actually, it's not just a question of preaching, but preaching in such a way, in such an organized fashion and manner, paying attention to those who really know how to carry out this preaching mission is something very, very important. After all, Srila Prabhupada includes in his introduction to the Srimad Bhagavatam, famous verse, Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo, that this movement is meant to be a revolution in the impious lives of the people. And of course, anyone who's honest and sincere, they will Yachchinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadava. Any honest, sincere person will hear it, will chant it, and will take it into their hearts. So this is such an important instruction of Sri Narada Muni. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave this instruction at another point in time, to show how much he wanted this Sankirtan movement. Shuna Shuna Nityananda Shuna Haridas, Sarvatra Amara Gya Koroho Prakash. My dear Nityananda and Haridas, this was his instruction after coming back, after taking up the Sankirtan movement. You go out, listen Nityananda, listen Haridas, go out and preach my order everywhere. And he gave the technicality also, how to do it. That Patti Gari Gari Giya Koro e Bhiksha. You go door to door. Srila Prabhupada in some purports, he mentions this, going to door. And again, going back to the original instruction given to Kurma Brahman, this is the method. This is what it means, that when we preach in our neighborhood, especially those who are in the Grihastha ashram, so you can go door to door, you can leave some books, you can invite people. So this is door to door, really grassroots, really trying to reach every person. No, not with an occasional Harinam, Sankirtan, or occasional book distribution, which can reach many people. But how are we going to reach everyone? And how are we going to convince them to take a set of Srila Prabhupada's books that really, especially distributing sets of books, this is really a great opportunity for grihasthas. Just like somebody was reminding us a few weeks ago in a session with Vaisheshika Prabhu, that we were always very impressed when the people would come around selling Encyclopedia Britannica. So we're selling Encyclopedia Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya told them, you go out and you beg, but you're not begging for them to give you something. You're begging for them to take something. Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. That ask them, chant Hare Krishna, worship Krishna, and take Krishna's instructions into your heart. This is what you should do. And then when they were going around, what did they say? Bola Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Laha Krishna Nam. Chant the holy name, worship Krishna, and take Krishna's name, chant it on your tongue, chant it very sincerely. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is the very wealth of your existence. So this was Lord Chaitanya's instruction to Sri Haridas and Nityananda Prabhu. They were the original Sankirtan team, and they went out. And who did they say this last line that I read to? To Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai were, first they laughed and then they became angry at Nityananda and Haridas, and they chased them away. But that didn't deter them. It actually gave Nityananda more determination. And his determination was, if these two are so bad, if they are converted to Krishna consciousness, this will glorify Lord Chaitanya all over the universe. So Nityananda Prabhu, by that statement, established, how do we get the determination? How can we possibly, have that degree of determination? Because we know this will make Lord Chaitanya famous. And of course, the more, even if we're thinking of ourselves, the more famous Lord Chaitanya becomes, the more famous this movement becomes, the easier it is for us to interact with the public, with the world. And then we'll always have a few Jagai and Madais, and probably quite a few, but we'll have a lot of people who are favorable, and therefore it makes it more favorable for our families, our friends, and the future of those who want to take Krishna consciousness. Now, there is I wanted to read something, and I hope that we can project it on the screen. I wanted to read something from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so here it is, and you can read along. And the reason I'm reading this is because it shows what it means to be Guru. Of course, he's an Acharya, but for everyone, it means the same thing, because our natural inclination will be, well, I'm not so qualified. Actually, any real Vaishnava should think that way in the beginning. I'm not qualified. What can I do? So this was given from a lecture of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We're projecting it so you can follow along, and it shows he's going through the apparent agony that one would have of taking up a position of such prominence before others. So I'll just begin reading, and please follow along. We have taken upon ourselves the responsibility of welcoming this grave charge, this big responsibility of becoming Guru, Amaragya Guru. All in the audience have accepted ordinary seats. I alone have been provided a lofty seat. All, in effect, are being told, have a look at this big animal from the zoo gardens. What arrogance, so foolish, so wicked. Have you ever seen such a big brute? Garlands of flowers have been put around his neck. What laudations, what bombastic, long-drawn, hyperbolic adjectives. How complacently he is listening to the praise of his own achievements. How intently with his own ears. Evidently, he also feels delighted. Is he not acting in plain violation of the teaching of Mahaprabhu? Can such a big brute, so selfish and insolent, ever be reclaimed from brutishness? Then he says, I happen to be one of the greatest of fools. Because of my arrogance, no one offers me good advice. Inasmuch as nobody condescends to instruct me, it occurred to me that I should present my case to Mahaprabhu himself and see how he would advise me. Just as Srila Prabhupada presented his case in his interchanges with Professor Stahl. So this is our supreme judge. Then Sri Chaitanya Dev said to me, so this is the verse that we're considering today. Whomever you meet, instruct him regarding Krishna. On my order, become a guru and save this land. In this, you will not be obstructed by the current of this world. You will have my company once again at this place. In these verses is found the proper explanation of the apparent inconsistency described above. He whose only teaching is humility more than that of a blade of grass said, by my command, become a guru and save this land. In this instance, Mahaprabhu himself has given the decree, perform the duty of guru, even as I myself do. Convey this same instruction to whomsoever you chance to meet. Chaitanya Dev says, tell them these very words. On my order, become a guru and save this land. Deliver the people from their foolishness. So now he presents what we would naturally feel if we're given this task, this monumental task. And it's not only monumental if one becomes a Diksha Guru and has many disciples. It's monumental if you assume the position of Vartma Pradarshika Guru, just trying to instruct one person. It has to be done in such a way that it is inspiring to them. What to speak of becoming someone's Shiksha Guru, and what to speak of becoming someone's Diksha Guru. So now, whoever happens to hear these words would naturally protest with palms joined. But am I really a great? But I am really a great sinner. How can I become Guru? How can I be Guru? You are Godhead Himself, the Jagat Guru. Only you can be Guru. That's one addressing ourselves to Mahaprabhu. To this, Mahaprabhu replies, in this you will not be obstructed by the current of this world. Otherwise, if we actually become empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we take up his order seriously and sincerely, then the tendencies, the current of this world, the pull of Maya will not touch us. This is the best way to protect ourselves from the current of the illusory energy. You will have my company once again at this place. Otherwise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he doesn't say it here, but in the verse, the next verse after the one we read, you will have me at this place again, or otherwise you will never be separated from me. No. Do not practice the occupation of a guru for the purpose of injuring others through malice. Otherwise, don't be a guru who speaks something that is not authorized, that is speculation. Do not adopt the livelihood of a guru to become immersed in the sloth of this world. But indeed, if you can be my guileless servant, you will be endowed with my power. That you need not fear. So now he makes his declaration, which we can make in our hearts. I have no fear. My Gurudev has heard this instruction from his Gurudev, and it is for this reason that my Gurudev accepted even such a great sinner as I and told me, on my order, become a guru and save this land. Only those who have never heard these words of Sri Gaurasundar say, how bizarre to listen to one's own praise. In their opinion, while the guru is instructing the disciple in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, he is perpetuating a major sin. What is the acharya to do when he has to explain the verse, Acharyam mam vijaniyat? Never disregard the acharya or consider him your equal in any sense. These are the words of Sri Krishna himself, whereby the jiva is to be benefited. Is the guru to desert his seat, the seat of the acharya, from which these words are to be explained? That office was conferred on him by his Gurudev. If he does not act up to its requirements, he is doomed to perdition, and for his offense against the holy name, in the shape of disrespect toward the Guru. He must execute his duty, notwithstanding such behavior being open to the charge of egoism. So that was a little long, and I'm sorry, but this is a very, very important indication of the mood, of the consciousness, of the level of responsibility that we have. It's not that we can just pass over these orders of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and say, oh, that's not for me. No. Unfortunately, or fortunately, for those that are enthusiastic to do so, and unfortunately for those that may have some doubts, or may naturally, as a Vaishnava, be doubting my own personal level of ability to do so. But this is coming from Krishna, from Prahlad Maharaj, from Narada Muni, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from our Parampara, especially from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, especially from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and amplified to the n+1 degree, for those that know mathematics, that otherwise to infinitely amplified by Srila Prabhupada, of really, really immense responsibility. And everyone can do it to some degree. Our different Sankirtan programs, especially the once a month yatra, going out, all these different programs are meant to bring us into this consciousness, this ability to be able to inspire the world, And it requires every one of us. Just like there are, 8 billion plus residents on this planet in the human form. And so how many devotees are there? A few million in the whole world. So that means each one of us has a responsibility of probably, millions of people, millions of people, or at least hundreds of thousands of people. So, and so if you want to reduce that down to a more workable number, then you have to participate in this, in carrying out this order. Of course, we all know what is that order given by Lord Chaitanya himself. It was characterized as Pritivichi Achayat Nagara Digram Sarvatra Prachara Hoibi Moranam. But the actual technical verse is in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Pritiviti Paryanta Yata Achi Deshagram Sarvatra Sangchara Hai Beka Moranam. In every town and village of the world, my chanting of my name will be heard. My names will be broadcast in all the villages and cities of the world. Even those persons averse to the Supreme Lord have never heard of the forms, qualities, and activities of the Supreme Lord. The holy names of the Lord will be preached in villages throughout the world. And we have evidence of that. The evidence we have of one who may not know these things, just like the wives of the Brahmins in Krishna Lila. They had never seen Krishna. They had never experienced Krishna in any way personally. But when Krishna came and sent his friends to summon them, they came as if they, of course, everyone knows Krishna eternally, but if they had, known Krishna intimately, they knew everything about him. And so just on the basis of what I just read, that that even if someone you've never heard of these things before, it's so attractive, it's so wonderful, it's so beautiful. And when it is marketed by the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such a way that it becomes a part of a flood, as we said in the beginning. We flood this world with Krishna consciousness, and the best way to flood the world is to have many pumps, and each one of you and each one of us and everyone, we have this responsibility. As we've said in book distribution, it's better to have thousands of people distributing a few books than to have a few people distributing thousands of books, because the mathematics will be able to, for so many years, I puzzled my brain, how will we double our distribution? And the answer is, at least the answer I've come to, is through our congregation. So we all have this responsibility, give Krishna consciousness. And one part of being a guru to start out is that we always make sure when we go out, we have a few books with us. And that way we can encourage people to become Krishna conscious. And we may not be able to introduce, just like sometimes at a health food store or something like that, you meet a lot of favorably minded people, or just anywhere. You see someone, you see a situation that allows you to enter into it and give a book or say something or say Hare Krishna. There's so many ways, so many ways that all of us can constantly be performing this function of guru, even in the office. I can relate from my own personal experience when I was in the army, that just by trying to have the attitude recommended in Srila Prabhupada's books, especially in Bhagavad Gita, where it recommends the symptoms of knowledge or the qualities of a devotee. If we show these things, even in our workplace, I found that people would come up to me and say, they would especially say, "Why are you happy? We're all miserable." Especially I was in the army in the time of Vietnam War. Everyone was very concerned we will be sent to, Vietnam but I said, well, I've gotten my happiness and my demeanor and everything from these books. So I found that just by one's attitude and one's demeanor, that one can preach tremendously. So all of us, we have so many tools at our disposition. And of course, the greatest tools are Srila Prabhupada's books. By reading, by studying, we prepare ourselves to be gurus. And by preaching, that knowledge becomes solidified. I've always found that when you speak to others, when you preach to others, then questions come up in the mind. How could I have explained that better? And we go to Srila Prabhupada's books and we look for the answer. We're forced to. So preaching also, in one sense, carrying out this order, being part of the Parampara, solidifies our own Krishna consciousness in a very unique and wonderful way. So these are some points that I wanted to present. And I would like to, at this point, see if there are any questions or any comments or anything like that I could try to answer to the best of my ability. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh.
Now?
Now, yes.
Okay, yes. Sorry. I wanted to voice my appreciation. And particularly, there was one analogy you gave, which I think was I really felt good. If you want to flood the world, you have to have lots of pumps. I thought that was really, really good. It's you have to have a pump in every house, or every corner. If there's a pump, the whole world will get flooded.
Yeah.
Rivers can't go everywhere. That was a really great analogy.
Yes.
So
yes,
we do
rivers flowing down.
we have a question here from Taruna Radha Devidasi. So this is, let's see, how to stay permanently in a mood of preaching door to door, living family life.
Well, I would say when you go out on the street, you see so many doors. No.
There's so many.
So every time you see a door, you should think, here's Lord Chaitanya calling. No. Prati gari gari digiya. No, that I have to go and knock on this door. No. So how will I prepare myself? Maybe I'll look at the people, see how they come out, what kind of a mood they're in. It's like it can be a meditation just by seeing doors. On I have to go there. This is my opportunity.
I'll give my own little plug here also, because in addition to books, because you mentioned how we have to carry books, this is my chantnow.com project. And if you carry, and we can supply these, by the way, you have the mantra, that's really easy to give people, and just say, here it is, try this prayer, try this song, try this mantra, but however you want to put it. So I think the books and mantra cards and things like that, these are essential. Then we can be permanently in that mood. Now, Anantashesh, it seems that Maharaj's stream is frozen. I don't know if that's me. Okay. So, audience, I'm not sure if, yeah, it looks like we lost Maharaj somehow. Maybe he'll be able to jump back on. Anyway, that was really wonderful, wonderful. I think just for our audience, please do follow this series. This is what Maharaj was talking about today, is the core of what we're trying to do through this Every Town and Village series, to inspire us, to instill within us, to answer your question to Runarada Devidasi, that how do we stay in this mood of spreading Krishna consciousness through every means possible and everywhere we go. So I hope that everyone can tune in. I'll thank Maharaj in his absence. I hope maybe he'll get back on if he does shortly. Otherwise, he might have had some technical issue. And in that case, we will close here, and we will invite everyone to join us tomorrow. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, please follow, please share, and be with us again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.